Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband.
Wife.
Husband.
I just thought I'd try something with you there. See how that went.
How'd you like it?
It was terrible. I think that was probably terrible for everybody. It was terrible for me.
It looked fun. It looked like you enjoyed it.
Maybe just a little bit. But then I realized how it sounded and I stopped. So that's the thing.
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, before we mention what we're doing, I want to apologize for everybody for kind of being absent for like a week now.
You want to apologize for everybody or to everybody?
To everybody. I want to apologize for to everybody. Yeah, that's the one. For being not here.
Yes.
And not doing our podcast on a regular.
It's mostly my fault, and so I also apologize.
And partially my fault.
But mostly my fault.
My wife pointed out to me.
Yeah.
And I'm always wrong, so I just accept it.
You are always wrong.
Yeah. And yeah, but anyway,
your job schedule has changed, and I actually have one now.
we should count up how many times we've used that as an excuse for not doing our podcast, and I bet it's like immensely. It's like the biggest reason ever.
It sounds put on. It's just that we would come up with such a better excuse if we were making it up.
It's true. Like, there was this butterfly, right?
Oh my God. I mean, if they only knew how many job changes you've had.
Now you're making me sound terrible.
Well, intentional ones.
Well, yeah.
Like moving up, not like moving down or back or whatever. Yeah. And I have a job, which is
new.
New.
That's new.
And difficult and not fun.
Anyway, we got a podcast we're going to do today.
We do. Do you know what we're going to do after the apologies? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry.
I'm sorry. You're sorry.
I kind of know, but I'm going to let you I'm going to let you talk about it because I don't know much about what you're actually talking about.
Well, I wanted to know what is the difference between Christianity in the United States versus Christianity in England. And I feel like there's got to be a big difference, and it turns out there is. But it's weird. The difference is weird.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Weird in that they don't have, Nazis as Christians over there?
That would be not weird. Having not Nazis is the normal way. It turns out that we're the weird ones.
Really? I couldn't tell.
Given that we have Nazis running the streets, running amok, running in government.
It's weird.
It's weird. We're the weird ones.
I have to say this out loud, too, because we just found this out, tonight, as we were starting this podcast.
But 15 minutes ago, maybe.
YouTube just took Seth Andrews off of the air. They took his podcast off of YouTube.
Completely
his whole
deleted his channel.
What the fuck is happening in this country? Seth Andrews. He's the nicest atheist.
Yeah, he really is. He's a very nice man.
I can't say, I thought he was mean to me once, but then he wasn't, because he was the nicest. My interaction with him was so, I was so, it's a long story. I think I've talked about it once on another podcast, but like I had this interaction that I mistook how it went. And then I reached out to him because I was so torn up about it.
Because you were like, did I do something to offend you?
Right.
And he was like, what the?
It was my anxiety. It was me. It was all me.
It was all you.
But he was the nicest person about it. Like he was so just wonderful.
Like he could have been like, what the fuck are you talking about, you fucking freak?
And they took that guy off of Facebook?
But instead, he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I would never. I thought you were cool. And husband was like, you do? You did? What?
That wasn't even that. He was being it was a statement that he was saying, like, it was a self-deprecating statement he was making about himself, which I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
Yeah. But he let me down easy. He let me like he was very nice about it. And, and I was like, that was really kind.
And you
didn't have to reach back out to me and be kind, but you did, you know?
Yeah.
They took him off fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even say fucking YouTube. He just says YouTube.
I know. It's
like,
true.
what the fuck, guys?
He's a really nice guy.
Fuck you, YouTube.
Fuck you, YouTube.
Go tell YouTube, fuck you, YouTube, for Seth Andrews.
Yeah, apparently if you have an account on YouTube, you can click on your profile picture and there's a spot at the bottom if you scroll down or something.
Yeah.
Where you can leave feedback and you can voice your complaint.
Yeah.
And I recommend everybody go do that because Seth Andrews is a really nice guy.
Yeah, tell YouTube where to stick it.
Or at least tell them, excuse the fuck out of you. Can you please put Seth Andrews back?
Right. Yeah, that too.
Yeah. But that is not what our YouTube... No, that's not what I meant to say. That is not what our episode tonight is about.
Right.
We're not talking about Seth Andrews.
Did get a note, though, just should be mentioned. He is on lots of other platforms still, so you can still find him.
You can still find him.
Just not YouTube.
Just not on YouTube.
So, yeah.
But he does have a podcast, and he is on Blue Sky.
But we're not here to advertise.
Right.
But, you know, yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah.
But fuck YouTube.
Fuck YouTube.
Anyway. Seth's the nice guy. Seth's
okay, but
guy.
that's not what we're talking about.
We're not talking about that. We're pondering the difference across the pond about Christianity.
Yes.
Got it.
Because I was curious.
Are you ready to ponder the difference?
I'm ready to ponder the pond.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right, we are going to hop into this, and I'm going to be really frank with you at the moment.
Instead of Charlie.
I'm not going to be Charlie. I'm going to be Frank. Frank. I don't know a lot about this topic.
Okay.
And so I'm going to present it and we're going to discuss it.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's the difference between Christianity in the United States versus England.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird how different it is.
Okay.
Because in the United States, it's more of a political personal identity.
Yeah.
Even though we scream about separation of church and state.
Right.
Whereas in England, the church is the state, but they have so much like, what? We don't think about that.
Right. It's more of a social
It's
thing,
not even that.
If anything.
Yeah. And so I just find that so odd. And it makes me feel like, oh, like now I kind of get why people in other countries are like, why every time you talk about politics, you talk about religion. And every time you talk about religion, you talk about politics. Why? And like,
well, a lot of our friends across the pond don't really fully understand what it means to be don't understand fully what it means to live in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Because what it means to live in the U.S. is that we have an intermixing of politics and religion that is supposedly separate, but not in any way, shape, or form is that a reality.
It's not. And
it's a faux reality, right? Like we have a understanding that it's supposed to be separate, but it's not really.
It's the way that there's the way the rules are written on the paper versus the way the rules are actually a lived reality. They don't match up.
Right.
And so if you are in a different country, you're looking over here and you're just seeing how it's written on paper and you're like, what's the big deal? I don't understand why you guys all up in arms. And it's like, because that's not the lived reality.
Right.
The lived reality is that everybody on every street has that identity, one way or the other.
Right.
And they're really loud and enthusiastic about it all the fucking time.
Sure.
And they knock on your door and they ask you if you're saved and they say, God bless you. And they mean it in a really
it's more often
it's very
like
pointed.
I know that the door knocking still happens, but it's turned, like after COVID, it turned into more letter writing. And now what I see more than anything is I see people on the street corners with like Bibles that they're handing out.
Okay, hold on. Let me just address the door knocking thing. They're still out there.
Yeah,
they
I
just
said they
don't,
are. I said
no,
they are.
listen. They just don't come to our door because I put up a sign on our door that says that if you knock on my door, I'm going to charge you $50 for whatever you're trying to sell me, whether it's God or a vacuum cleaner.
Right. No, and to be clear, I saw some Jehovah's Witnesses walking through our neighborhood not that long ago.
Yeah.
So it does still happen, right?
They just skip our door.
Right. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen elsewhere either, but like the amount of how, the amount that Christianity
pervades our everyday life.
Yeah. Workplaces, everything, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot. And it's not something that a lot of other people in other countries relate to as much. Like, they don't relate to it.
Because they don't have it.
At least in my conversations, right?
Right. Yeah. So. They don't have it, like, forced upon them. Or if they do, I don't know. I can't speak for people in other countries, but it seems like it's just not quite as uncomfortable, maybe. It's because we're talking about faith versus action. Let me just get into this a little bit.
Yeah.
So as we know, American Christianity is super loud. It's very emotional. It's politically driven, and it's very identity driven.
Yeah.
English Christianity, from what I've been able to find, is quiet, cultural, institutional, and largely optional. Like, It's not this huge thing that's like a social activity or whatever.
Right.
It all comes from the same root, but it's very, very different vibes.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about it, for one thing, like as a religious identity versus religious background, in the United States, Christianity is often very central to personal identity, as we've said.
Yeah.
It's why it's really hard for us to, it's why we decided to be we
Right. Yeah. No,
because
it's definitely frowned upon to be an atheist in this country.
In America.
Overall. Even though we are taking up a larger and larger space, it still is not exactly great to be that socially.
And to be Christian in America often means that you have specific values, specific political party, specific lifestyle, specific stances on issues.
Right.
Like, to say it loud and proud, 9 times out of 10, I can tell you who you voted for, where you stand on abortion and gun rights, where you stand on immigration. Like, I'm a Christian just means these certain things. I'm a Republican means those often same certain things.
Sure.
And that makes it very intrinsically bound.
Right.
When I'm a Christian is the same thing as I'm a Republican, or I'm a Republican is the same thing as I'm a Christian, that's why.
And this isn't a rule. It's not across the board. There are definitely liberal and progressive Christians, and there are conservative atheists. You know, like,
but
that's the thing.
Here's the difference. A Christian who is a Republican doesn't need to specify. He can just say, I'm a Christian, and you automatically know, oh, you're one of those.
I am going to stipulate that at least that's true in the Midwest.
Sure, in the Bible Belt.
Right. Which is where we are.
Yeah. Or in the South even.
Right.
I'm a Christian.
Right.
Like, it means a certain thing, right?
Sure.
a lot of times a progressive who also is a Christian will say, I'm a Christian, but...
Yeah, there's a but attached to it.
And yeah, or I'm a Christian and...
And they'll go on to describe, well, I go to a very progressive church, or I go to
I don't,
blah, blah, blah.
I don't follow blah, blah, blah.
They definitely distinguish early on that that's not, evangelical or something along those lines.
Right. They go out of their way to say, but I'm not Republican.
Right. Yeah.
Or
especially in the climate that we have going on right now.
Right. They might be Christian, but they're like, but not that kind of Christian.
Sure.
So that's what I mean here. Like, to say that you're Christian right now, if you don't have that but tacked onto the end, it automatically means, at least in this part of the country, which is a large swath, it means you're a Republican.
Generally speaking.
And even further, at this point, if you're really loud about it, it means you're MAGA.
Generally speaking. Yes.
Public declaration matters like testimony, conversion stories, church shopping.
You're talking about in the U.S.
In the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we've got some personal experience with because your parents actually do church shopping.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that more and more, a lot of the church shopping ends up going to basically what's an online church, right? Because a lot of people are not finding the right amount of zealousness, right? Like the right amount of
Jesus be too woke.
Yeah. No, that's a thing.
That is a thing. And I don't know if that is a thing that people who live across the pond can even grasp. Like,
right.
When we joke around, like, about Buddy Jesus or about Republicans think Jesus is too woke, like, that's an actual phenomenon.
Yeah.
That is an actual phenomenon that I see in my parents.
Yeah, no, I literally just had a conversation with someone online that told me that progressive Christians were basically the devil. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean...
And that doesn't surprise me.
This is from somebody who lives literally, like I found out through talking to them, they live like 20 minutes away from me.
And that's just not a surprise at all.
Right, no, yeah.
Like, yeah, that tracks.
Right.
Because they're in the Bible Belt.
Sure.
And yeah, they enjoy being zealots, and the churches are not mean enough. They aren't hardcore enough.
Yeah.
They haven't taken quite a strong or firm enough stance on immigration and putting women back in the kitchen where they belong.
Right.
They haven't quite gotten to removing stipulations on whether or not it can be called rape if the man is forcing himself upon his wife.
Sure.
They want that removed. And churches are reluctant maybe to do that. Or their church isn't maybe pushing hard enough to call kids below the age of consent for pregnancy, parenthood, marriage, or workers' rights for children.
General shittiness.
General shittiness and abuse of women and children and people of color.
Sure.
And people in the queer community.
Yes.
You're not being hateful enough, therefore I need to go find a more hateful church online.
Right.
Because Jesus be too woke.
I think it's much the same problem we're running into with our news media and everything else, right? Mm-hmm. We're dividing down lines of how far you can, if we're all dividing into our camps, right? Mm-hmm. And that's part of, you and I have had this discussion, but like it's one of those things where no one's talking to each other anymore, and it's not you don't want to have the discussions, but I mean, like, I think it's bad that no one wants to have the discussions anymore.
Well, it's really hard to have a discussion with somebody who talks in circles, doesn't understand analogies, and is not having a good faith argument toward resolution.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree with that 100%. And so I'm laying the blame across the board. Like it's not individual. that's causing this. It's the institutions that are causing this, right? It's the way that we are being divided out. And we're being put into camps.
It's the news media, like Fox News and shit like that, and the churches and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's the people in positions to where they fucking know better, but they're so short-sighted that they're like, but money and power and sex, I need it really bad, and this lets me have it.
Well, also, if you keep people very sheltered on the information that they're getting, you might raise your numbers of your people coming to your church by like 1%, and you need those metrics. So, I mean, that's really important.
Money and power and sex.
Metrics.
I needs it.
And metrics.
Well, the metrics leads to the money, the power, and the sex.
Right, but metrics is everything, don't you know?
Yeah.
You got to show your power by report. So,
yeah, yeah. That kind of gets into the next point, which is that in the U.S., there's a very high emotional intensity. Like, you're going to see worship teams, like bands and stuff. Like, we actually have, I don't think you see this so much in other countries, but we have people try out for bands here to play in churches and like they're called the worship team because the band leads you in your worship. You sing along with them,
right?
And that's how you rock out to God.
I think kids should go and play some really crazy stuff. So some System of a Down. Try it out, see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We also have a huge revival culture here, which is something else. That I don't even know how to define that.
Right.
Other than like big tent with lots of laying on of hands and talking in tongues and people like pretending to be cured, shit like that.
Yeah, I guess.
That's my impression of revival.
I've never seen, I know that those things happen.
Right.
I've never actually seen anything
I haven't
that.
either. That's why that's just my impression of it.
Sure.
But that's an American thing.
I've seen that in movies. That's about the only time I've seen that. But I don't want to make it seem like that's happening on every street corner because it's not.
No, it's not. But what I'm trying to say is that does exist, and it is an American thing. That is not a thing that you would see a lot of in other countries. In England.
Right.
Particularly.
Since we're comparing the two.
Yeah. Another thing is the phrase, a personal relationship with Jesus. That's a very American phrase.
Okay. All right.
Which I did not realize.
I didn't either.
But it makes sense.
It's so prevalent here that I would have never.
Yeah. Apparently that's not a thing outside of America.
Got it. Or at least not in England.
Not in England.
Right.
Not outside of America.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Personal relationship with Jesus. That one cracks me up because I'm like, really? Do you pick up the phone? You call them? And when people say that, I just have it's the same thing as, are you saved? Because I am a very literal person. It's probably my autism working.
Yeah.
That to where I'm like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? What are the steps involved in that?
Yeah. How do you become besties with Jesus?
What is your personal relationship? Because to me, I have a personal relationship with my husband.
Right.
I don't have a personal relationship with my very favorite books that I read over and over again, or that I study because I'm a lit nerd.
We don't have Zeus over for tea.
Yeah. What does a personal relationship mean? I cannot comprehend it, and I need to know because, and then there, part of that is we talk to, I talk to Jesus. You talk to Jesus. What does that mean? What does that act like? You're just walking around and you're just hey, Jesus, how about this painted wall in my living room? Should I do blue or gray? Is that what you, what do you mean you talk to Jesus?
Right.
What do you talk about? Do you hear him talk back to you? And sometimes they say yes, and I'm like, what does he sound like? And they're like, no, not literally. I mean, I see the signs, or, like I'll ask a question and then later that day I'll feel the answer, or the sun through the cloud will blink a certain way and I'll know that I have. And I'm like, that's not a conversation, my guy.
Yeah.
That's cuckoo.
No,
That's not a conversation.
I had somebody tell me that so the church they go to, they're like, when I go up to because we were having a conversation about it and it was okay. Like, it was okay. We were having a good conversation, and it is somebody I know, so I'm not going to say much more about who, but they said that they could go up to the altar and put their hands on it and feel the power, feel the energy. Right. And I'm like, okay. I understand you're telling me this. I understand that you feel that, but like, couldn't that be caused by your mental state and the social setting that you're in? Because to me, it's more about that exuberance that you're feeling in the moment with regard to what everybody else is
let me ask you this.
Doing and feeling.
Let me ask you this. Is the building located near a train track? Like, literally, I don't understand these. It just takes me back to, like, I went to this women's retreat one time, and everybody got a bag full of goodies when we showed up, and one of the facilitators said, just take whatever bag calls to you. And I had never heard that phrase before. This was like 20 years ago.
Sure. And
I was like, calls to me? What is that? And I literally was like, I don't know what that means. Right. And she was like, whichever one you like. That's not calling to me, people. It's a fucking bag.
Right.
They were all different colors and they all had different things inside them. So, you know, it was holding space for each of us to end up with exactly the bag we were supposed to end up with.
Right. And if you say it with enough pretty words and enough, like, you know, hooey, whatever, you can make it sound magical, right? And if everybody around you is feeling this like, look, if everybody around you looks like they're experiencing something, it makes you more likely to experience that same thing, right?
Because you want to.
Because you want
you
to.
Don't want
because
to feel
you don't
left
want
out.
to. Yeah, you don't want to feel left out. You want to participate in this feeling. And believe me, I know what it feels like to want to participate in this feeling. I just can't bring myself past the whole "this is stupid" portion of it. Like, this is crazy. Like, what are you talking about?
I just thought it was a women's retreat and that there was going to be like creativity and art and stuff. And it was not presented as, and the goddess will flow in us. Right? So, like, when they started talking about goddess, I was like,
wait, what did I get into?
Like, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but I need more words.
Right.
Like, I am either a dum-dum, or I am thick, or I am who I am, which is a very literal person, and I don't understand. Yeah. I need more words.
Sure.
You can't just drop goddess on me and then walk off, right?
Right.
You can't just say, are you saved, and then not explain that there's not a mass murderer following me and I have a target on my back.
Right.
Like, save from what? What? Is someone about to get me? Like, I know I sound like I'm making fun, but I'm literally not. I literally, when that question was first asked to me, I can't remember if it was 11th or 12th grade, but I was in San Antonio, Texas, East Central High School. I had just moved back to the States.
Yeah.
And the people that I went to school with were asking me this question, are you saved? And I had never heard it before. I don't know what those words mean.
No, I can tell you that my first time I heard it was around 95 or 96. And I was on a date. And I went to a church function with a girl I was dating. And I was asked, was I saved? And I'm like, what? What is that? I don't even know what that means.
Saved from what? Saved for what? Like, what? Yeah. I just...
Because I grew up in a religious community, but I like not going to church on a regular basis. I never really heard those words before, and I was like,
personal
what does this
relationship
mean?
With Jesus is where we started, and I'm still like, I don't know what that means, y'all.
Right, but we are supposed to be contrasting the differences between us and England.
Yes,
so
I'm sorry.
We've been going off about America, U.S. and American religion.
So okay, let's switch over to England then.
Yeah,
in England, apparently, Christianity is often ambient. So it's like not glaring, not in your face.
Right.
Okay.
It's like elevator music.
Yeah, it's just like in the background.
Sure.
People may be baptized, married, or buried in a church, but they don't think of themselves as like religious-y. It's just like
you pay dues and then you do the things.
Yeah,
and then you go home.
You might even go to church every Sunday, but it's not like a big fucking
maybe
deal.
Not, whatever.
Yeah, faith is something that you have, not something that you perform. To the English,
which that was how it was here. Yeah,
yeah, I am for that. Like, have your faith. That's fine.
Yeah.
Why do you got to be like a big old, are you saved? Oh, may God bless you on your journey.
Right.
And God unto you, God.
It's the performance aspect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the part that really gets me here.
Yes.
And I wish we were more like
less performance
and not
more just be your kind, good-hearted, faithful self.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
And when I was growing up, I always heard that people will know, like, people try to tell me that people will know that they were Christian by the acts that they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The things that they perform, the things that they, not like literally chasing people down and beating them over the head with your religion.
Right.
But like, paying for somebody's lunch, holding a door open for somebody,
just
doing something kind, right?
Yeah.
And I really like that idea because, look, I grew up in a small town. I was very patriotic when I was younger, and I was a Boy Scout, right? And one of the Scout motto was do a good turn daily, right? And I really like that as just a mantra to live by. Like, and I try to, even today, like, this of me. Mm-hmm. I do kind things for people without expecting anything in return, without, I want to be genuinely a good person in the world and put something good into the world. And I liked that idea about Christianity, right? When I was younger, before I got jaded and fucking cynical about the whole thing, right?
But even still, everybody that knows you knows that you're a super nice guy.
Sure. And I try to live that, right?
Yes.
And that's what I always assumed that people meant by this thing that they called Christianity, is that that's how it embodied itself.
Right.
It was this idea that you just were genuinely good in the world, and that by being genuinely good in the world, it would draw people to you. But it's funny that most of them drive people away from them, and I'm an atheist and I draw people to me.
Isn't that interesting?
Through kindness. So apparently this is backfiring on Christianity in the U.S.
I eat babies, so I do send people spiraling away from me.
Wife does not eat babies.
I don't eat babies, but I also don't like people. So I'm a horrible example of how to be. But what's really funny is that whenever I am at work or around people or whatever, everybody has a good impression of me as like a funny, jolly person to be around.
Right.
So even as a cynical, bitchy old woman.
Right.
Atheist,
Right. No,
I still manage somehow to get people to like me.
We talked about Seth Andrews earlier. Mm-hmm. Genuinely one of the nicest people, in the atheist community. And like, there are so many more. I've run across genuinely good people more often in the secular atheist world than I have in the religious world. Yeah. In my estimation, in my experiences, that is how I would classify my interactions in general.
Yeah.
Is that because there's less judgment, there's less expectations about who you need to be in order to be part of their group, in order to be part of their circle, right? Like, there's this expectation that you have to have these and hold these beliefs in order to understand who these people are. And I'm like, I understand who you are. I just don't want to do that thing. Is that okay?
Right. Well, I think that people who are just good for goodness sake. Well, so be good for goodness sake.
Right.
Whoa, somebody's coming.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
I think is true.
Right.
One other thing about personal belief in England is that it's considered private and slightly awkward to discuss.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your sex life in a way. Like, maybe I do it, maybe I don't.
I feel like it was kind of like that in the 80s here. Like, when I was younger, I don't feel like there... And maybe I was wrong. I was younger, but it felt like there was less talking about people's religion. right? It was just something people did, and you were either part of that group or you weren't, and it was just over there, right?
I don't know, because of all the places that I grew up. I don't have a good...
Sure. And my whole perspective on that is based on a small town that had 5 churches, granted, but it's based on a small town experience. But I don't recall a lot of people discussing their religion back then. So,
but you've also said too, though, that you did feel left out because everybody went to church but you.
Right. There was some of that. Yes, for sure. And I started going to church with friends to try to find out what it was I was missing out on, because there were so many people that had a start to their social life before they ever got to school.
Yeah.
And I wasn't part of any of those, right?
Yeah.
It was obvious that for whatever reason, and I wasn't aware of it until later in life, but I didn't know as many people as other people did.
Yeah.
I had a very small
start. The network is so much bigger if you belong to a church.
It does. Yeah. And I just never, it took me a long time to grasp that, and I didn't really understand why that was the case. But there was built-in groups that were based on church at my school, especially at a smaller school like I went to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So another point is the church as a movement versus church as an institution.
Okay.
Which I found an interesting comparison.
Sure.
So in the United States, churches behave like business startups.
It's true.
They compete for members, which
we've been part of. Well, we actually went to a church for a while, you and I, that was kind of one of those startups.
Yeah.
It was a startup from a group that was smaller that wanted to become more and started, trying to find spaces to meet in and then growing, and
they
all
moved
kinds of stuff.
location
Multiple
to a
times.
richer area.
Yeah.
And I protested against that loudly and vociferously and was booed down by everybody. And it's funny, when they moved to the new place, that was the last place they moved to. Because they couldn't afford the rent.
Yeah. Yep.
And it closed down.
Yep.
That is funny.
It is.
And it's also maybe they should have listened to me. Not that I have any business telling a church what to do, but...
I mean, why not? The pastor's now atheist, so...
That is true. That is actually really funny.
Right, and he knew we were atheists at the time.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so they compete for members. They compete, as I said, for... you had said for members, and I had said for band members, the worship team.
Yeah.
They brand themselves. They market heavily. That's part of the sending people door to door, or the VBS thing, Vacation Bible School. You'll see notices inviting kids during the summer to come to camp.
Yeah.
Quote unquote camp.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, we have now we have the life. What is it? The life house life. What is it? There's that group that has the buses that go to schools and they take the kids out.
Oh, in Ohio, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just Ohio. There's multiple states now that do it, but yeah, they bus kids from school in the middle of the day to go to church, essentially, like Sunday school type thing.
Yeah.
And then they send them back with treats.
So that other kids will want to go too.
Right, and be jealous of what, well, I guess I need to go because I want treats.
That's how when my dad was stationed at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, I think this was when we lived off base, there was a bus that came around on Sunday mornings taking kids to church school, whatever.
And that makes some sense a little bit.
But
I guess,
they gave kids candy.
Right.
And so me and my sister... But at
least it was Sunday mornings,
Right. But me and my sister wanted to go. And so my mom let us go a couple times, but then, asked us, why do you want to go? And we're like, because they get candy. And she was like, you're not going to Sunday school for fucking candy. No. And she put a stop to that. And that kind of made me mad at the time, because I was like, Why?
I want candy.
I want candy.
Yeah,
You're not giving me candy. I want fucking candy. But like I can specifically remember us being like just straightforward, like, because they have candy.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't I want to go?
Sure. Like, makes sense to me.
The other shit's boring.
But that's why that stuff to me is very nefarious. Like,
it is.
You know, like it's very
gross.
Blatantly they're trying to brainwash kids.
Yeah.
And you're doing it by any means necessary.
Yeah.
So
you're literally bribing them with candy. What really reminds me of, there's a part in Pinocchio, the book, when they are tempting children into the fun park, and they play in the fun park and they go on all the rides and they eat all the treats, and then slowly, the more that they do this, they turn into donkeys.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is in Pinocchio?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I cannot recommend the book Pinocchio enough.
Yeah.
It is such good satire. It's very well written.
Yeah.
And it is funny as fuck. It is just great sarcasm. It's novel size. So
Sure.
it's not like just like a short kid story. It's
Right.
not the Disney story.
Right.
There's whole entire parts of this book, and it's funny. You'll laugh.
Yeah.
I've read it multiple times. I cannot recommend it enough.
Sure.
But yeah, like that part, the tempting the kids into the fun park.
Yeah.
And the more that they go and the more that they ride and eat all the treats and stuff, they turn into donkeys. Like that has always been in my mind. What tempting kids onto the Sunday school bus with candy.
Right.
And yeah, they do. They turn into fucking donkeys, don't they?
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing about American churches, Christian churches in particular, is that the pastors are charismatic leaders and influencers. And how?
Yeah.
You see a lot less of that in England, apparently.
So it's boring, stuffy, whatever, with like probably like really fancy things that they wear.
I don't
that's
know.
what I'm imagining.
I know.
I don't know enough about it, but
I don't know
that's
what
I
it looks
imagine.
like, but yeah, that sounds right.
I imagine very, officious looking people,
right. With their I started to say with their wigs, but I think that I was thinking about their fucking courts.
Yeah, the courts. Yeah.
The fact that that's like, I read a joke that said something about why all of the legal shows that we have here in the US and they don't have any that translate well from England is because they can't possibly wear those wigs and have an American audience take them seriously.
Yeah.
The show would never go.
Right.
And like, I'm really sorry, you guys, but it's true. Your wigs are funny.
Right.
Like, come on, it's 2025. You don't wear a wig anymore. Cut it out. Cut it out. You look silly.
Right.
I don't say that America got everything right over England, but getting rid of those fucking wigs was definitely one of them.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that the word charismatic is used, charismatic to me, is just a fancy way of saying, a leader who is nefarious and tempts you into the dark side.
I was going to say a lot of the pastors that I've run across in my lifetime strike me more as a used car salesman than as a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that doesn't strike the right tone with me, generally.
I was thinking about the one pastor that we rented the house from.
Yeah. Yes. Specifically, that one.
So gross.
Yeah, he was.
And sexist.
Oh my God, yeah. He wouldn't talk to wife. He would only talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
About anything that was business related or that needed to get done.
Yeah. Or I was unpacking and I had put the boxes out back.
Yeah.
And he came around and was taking care of the boxes for me. And I was like, oh, I was going to take care of those. I know recycling is on XYZ day. I can't remember.
Right.
He was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and take those now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess you will. Okay. I mean, Like, it was one of those situations where I was being forced into accepting a favor and saying thank you and being grateful for a favor I never fucking asked for.
Right.
Like, okay, note to self, don't leave those there because he will drive by and pick them up. And maybe that's not what I fucking mostly I want a landlord that stays out of my fucking hair. Just
haven't found that yet.
No, really haven't.
Well, no, we had one.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, we did have the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about American churches is this constant pressure to grow, convert, and expand. Like, it's all about the numbers, the metrics, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a very American thing.
Yeah.
American church thing.
No, I imagine that some of the bigger churches literally have like business meetings where they go over like fucking slideshows and shit and go over like the how many new parishioners showed up, and like it's a whole business meeting.
I mean, I've been to some of those meetings for the smaller churches. So,
right,
yes.
Right. Where's the personal, where's the like, where's the Jesus in that?
Yeah.
Is it in the second or third Google slide?
Yeah. I
don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel right.
No,
it doesn't feel like
so
it doesn't
gross.
feel like fucking church. It feels like a fucking business.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
In England, the Church of England is a state institution. It's a state-sanctioned church.
Right.
So that automatically should make you feel the ick because, personally, right, we want separation of church and state.
Sure.
But the monarch over there is literally the head of the church.
Yeah.
Which I kind of knew, but like seeing it just spelled out like that is like, oh my God, that is so gross.
Right.
That's so gross. And the clergy function more like civil servants in England.
And since the monarch in the UK basically has zero power, it's just a figure. The whole thing's a figurehead for the whole country.
But I found it interesting. They function like civil servants, as opposed to here, our church leaders don't function as civil servants.
No,
at all.
They are personalities. They are talk show hosts. They are they are entertainers. They are your best friend. They're your worst enemy. They're like, they have very, very strong personalities that you have to contend with in real life. Like, they are not just mundane people. They inspire one way or another, whether it's to dislike them or like them. Yeah. They inspire people.
They inspire me to hate them hard. I can tell you that much.
No, and that's right. Like, that's a lot of what inspires us, not liking certain things in religion, right? Yeah. Because these pastors and these people that are personalities in the U.S. get up and say some really stupid shit in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, in the name of whatever. And then they put it out there and say that this is the way. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
You need to calm your chest.
Just fuck off with that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing about England churches is that their churches exist whether people show up or not, since they are state sanctioned.
Sure.
Which I hadn't thought about that either. That's really
takes monetary pressure off the church.
Yeah. So the key difference between America and England there is the American churches literally need Americans to show up.
Right.
They need us.
Yeah.
Whereas English churches, they already own the building and they're going to be there regardless.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter if you go or not.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of neat in a way.
It's almost like I feel like it's almost going to like a museum or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's that, state sanctioned church.
Right.
You want to go in and, see what's going on? Okay, sure.
Yeah. I would actually like to go to a church in England for the history of the building,
right,
the architecture, and like how long it has stood there, and maybe what historical figures attended there.
No, you know how much I love history, and I think that overall, especially in Europe, there is a lot of beauty and culture built into old religious, places and just the whole institution itself is so historic and so many places that kind of capture that, right? And I would love to go visit some old churches. Like it would be high on the list of things I would want to see in Europe, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to our third point, which is politics.
Yeah.
And we've already heavily gotten into this, but let's do it some more.
Sure.
Okay. So in America, Christianity is openly political. Just, it is.
Yeah.
Evangelicalism, did I say that right? Evangelicalism. Yeah. It's a long word. Is tightly fused with conservatism.
Right.
And those go together. And they like to call it tradition, but it's not.
Right.
It's not. It can be, but it's not automatically.
Right. And it's definitely become more intermingled over the last 2 or 3 decades. So.
Yeah. Things like voting, abortion, gender, and nationalism are framed as biblical issues.
Yeah.
And that makes it really hard to separate. It makes it hard to have legitimate conversations when you bring magical figureheads into it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I wanted to have a talk about science and medicine. You're talking about magic.
Yeah, when you involve Jesus, there are no longer sides. It's just that way or the highway. You've taken the conversation out of everything and made it more about religion than about the actual issue.
And the more that you say things like, can we just leave God out of this conversation? The more that they will like not just double but quadruple down and be like, no, God belongs in every conversation. And he does, because he's God and you're supposed to be godly and goddish and God.
Because the echo chamber that they're in is telling them that the state and the progressives and the left are trying to take away their God by doing these things without God, right?
Right.
So it's built into the whole narrative in the U.S. with regard to evangelical churches that we are here to take away their God by telling them that we want to talk about an issue without involving God, when that's kind of the whole premise of our country, right?
Yeah.
We don't just represent Christians. We represent Christians. We represent Muslims. We represent atheists. We represent Hindus. We represent Jewish.
Catholics.
Right. We have a whole litany of people that we represent, and they aren't all you white evangelical fuck. And I'm just sorry, but that's how I feel when they go about, like, that's what I'm thinking when this is happening. I'm like, why do you get to say that you are right without considering anybody else's stance on this?
And why do you speak for everybody?
Decided that your religion is correct and right, and there is no other alternative but this, and you won't even entertain talking to anybody about it,
right?
Because your religion said so. No, we won't cross aisles. We won't have a discussion anymore. We're done right here and right now because our God said we're done right here and right now. Sorry.
Well, and now they're being told that to even talk with somebody across the aisle is to entertain the notion of letting Satan into your life.
Yeah. Well, the person I mentioned, somebody that I was talking to online earlier, that was an apologist, right? They said almost in the same breath that it's their job to convert me and save me from the fires of hell, but also that I'm atheist scum, and if they talk to me, then I'm Satanist. I'm Satan's, whatever, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And
I'm like, wow, the mind fuck that must be pulled on you in order to think that you have to save me and kill me at the same time is just immense.
It's like
what happened there?
I'm supposed to save you, but only if it's easy and quick. Otherwise, I need to kill you real bad.
Right. And I'm not saying that most of them cross that line into killing atheists, right? Like, that's not a thing that actually happens here on a regular.
It feels
it feels that way.
It feels like we're not far from that. If I'm being honest, it feels like there's a lot of zealous people who have been waiting for this. Just like there's been a lot of racists who have been very excited about their ability now to let their racism come to the forefront. There's been a lot of white fucks who have really, really been excited that now they could say the N-word with less pushback.
Right. And to be clear,
You know?
we're white fucks, but we're just liberal.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I remember about 10 years ago, my mom asked me why it's okay to call women bitches, but it's not okay to say the N-word. And I literally looked at her and said, the fact that you are asking me that question is so problematic.
Right.
Like, the fact that you don't understand why.
Yeah.
And there's just, like, the churches themselves have been pushing for racists to say the N-word. Like, they've been pushing, they want to really bad.
Not directly, but it's not shunned. It's not like it's part of the culture. That's
It's
more
all,
of a cultural.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it, though. And so when I say it feels like there's zealots that are just waiting to be more zealous, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel far off to say that, you know, that step between, oh, it's my job to save you. Oh, but you're Satan, and so I have to kill you. Like, whoa! You made that jump so fucking fast, because if I can't save you within 2 seconds, you're not worth it.
Right. Right.
So, okay. Thanks for that then.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe I should just eat babies. Just kidding. I don't eat babies. Oh my God. Truth be told, I love babies, not the taste of them. I hate people, but I love babies. That's all I mean.
Yeah.
I do.
I want to point out for the record here that, let's see, what is it? It'd be yeah. 1/3 of our audience that's live here tonight on Discord with us are technically Christians.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I thought I'd throw that out there because that's actually true.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And they don't.
And we love them.
And they don't hate us.
We love them.
That's nice.
I just wanted to throw that out there as we're sitting here going over all this because they're some of our favorite people.
It's true.
You know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, we also use the word very loosely. We know what we mean. We mean those fucks.
Sure.
Not
no. I wanted to
Christian,
caveat a little bit of what we've been saying with a little bit of like, yeah, but they're not like we're not trying to.
They're part of the I'm Christian, but.
Well, yes and no, but I mean yes, because they're willing to talk, they're willing to communicate, they're willing to listen, they're willing like
ask questions.
They're willing to be part of a community that's different from them. You know, like that's not. I appreciate that.
They're not part of the problem, is what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I just had to throw that out there.
No, I appreciate knowing that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So another thing about Christianity in America is that the religious rhetoric is used to legitimize power. And we saw Trump do that. Like we saw Trump during his first term when he's like, oh, I love my Christians. And, you know, then he tear gases protesters in front of a church to get them the fuck out so that he could stand in front of the church and hold a Bible upside down.
That was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life.
I thought it was hilarious.
I was like, how can Christians not be offended by this image? Like, that is so obviously just like a ploy to use Christianity for his own benefit, right? Like, that was all that, like, let's go clear protesters out to stand in, like, by force and go stand in front of a church, and then he's going to hold the fucking Bible upside down because it shows the level of care that he actually has for Christianity. He doesn't give a fuck. It's an image for his fucking political power. That's all it is.
It's an image, and it is burned forever in history, and the Bible is upside down in his hand.
Right.
And I hope that nobody ever corrects that. Right. Because that's just like, to me, that just says it all. It's like, it's so exactly true. It's so, I mean, kid keeps saying it's so comically evil. He might as well be twirling a fucking mustache, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So in England, the official church exists, but religious politics feel really, really cringe. So they don't do that.
Right.
Which is why they're like, what is happening over there? And we're like, I don't fucking know, but I don't like it. Another thing is that in England, public religious enthusiasm is sus. They're like, what are you doing over there? And we're like, I don't fucking know. I still don't like it.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Christianity rarely drives voting behavior. They don't turn every issue into a religious one.
Well, and there's probably a large movement to not do that, given that they are state sanctioned.
Right.
Like, so it's they wouldn't want them to pick a side. It would cause a conflict of interest, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we're supposed to not do that here, but that's less and less the case, especially given recent developments, we'll say, with that.
Development, yeah. For them, in England, moral arguments are framed in secular language, even by believers. I found that statement so interesting.
Yeah.
Moral arguments framed in secular language.
Yeah.
So they actually try to have fucking discussions.
Right. Which I think is completely doable, even if you have faith, even if you believe in God, right?
Yeah.
Like that, you can have a legitimate conversation. You have to have a conversation. If you're going to have a conversation, you have to be willing to listen. Otherwise, you're just preaching, You
have to try to reach the other side, and they're not interested at all.
Yeah, if you don't sound like you're listening, no one's going to care what you say.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And actually, let me rephrase that. If you don't actually convey that you are actively listening, no one's going to give a fuck about what you say.
It's kind of like when you're reading the conversation and you go, yeah. And I can tell you have no idea what I just said.
No, I am definitely guilty of that.
No, I know. That's why I'm using that example.
Sure.
Like, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm trying to say, like, you are conveying to me that you have no idea what I just said because you weren't listening. And so I'm like, ugh, you weren't listening.
Right.
And that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening there.
Yeah.
So the irony is that the U.S. claims separation of church and state, and yet.
Yeah.
But England literally has a state church, but religion has less political power.
Right.
So I found that comparison.
Oh, it's
so
very striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what? We love, like, when I say we, I mean the liberal, the progressive, the true American is what I like to say. We love our separation of church and state our separation of church and state.
Early in our founding fathers, like we had the language was written into the Constitution, and then was it Constitution or Bill? Whatever. It's written into our early documents. Sorry, I fucked that one up because I wasn't prepared to have this conversation exactly.
Right.
But and then there was the Treaty of Tripoli that like solidified that early on in our history, which basically took the idea of separation of church and state, which is documented, and then expanded on that idea to solidify it. And there was
this was done by by our founding fathers, who many of them would call themselves Christians.
Yeah.
They would probably be appalled at today's version of Christianity, although today's Christians like to say, but founding fathers were Christian. They wanted a Christian nation.
And you know what? Like, there was a lot of there's quotes that you can take from back then that make it sound like they were. There's also quotes that you can take from back then that make it sound like they weren't. Right? Like, but the language in our law that they created states that there is a separation of church and state. And a large part of that is because of how much control religion had on them in previous experiences with politics, right?
They were like, maybe I have a fucking relationship with Jesus and maybe I don't, but I don't want that in my politics. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
And moreover, I will go ahead and say for them, since they're not here, I don't think any of them had a personal relationship with Jesus, because that's not a thing.
But they certainly sound like the more that time goes on, the more the right and the evangelical Christians try to make the founding fathers sound like evangelical Christians, as opposed to what they actually were, which was much more hands-off God believing.
They were the clockmaker God believers. Right. They were more interested in talking about God and faith and church than Jesus.
Yeah.
Which I find so interesting, because now, like, Americans love to talk about Jesus, even though they would have him deported so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think y'all know who Jesus is. Like, literally, there are people in certain parts of this country who don't even understand that Jesus was a Jew, that Jesus was from the Middle East, that Jesus wasn't white. Like, they literally don't know these things.
Right.
And they would find it blasphemous for you to point that out.
No, and the level of misinformation about what it is to be Christian to Christians is immense.
Yeah.
Like, there is such a high level of misinformation among Christians in Christianity.
Yeah.
That it's
in America,
really unfathomable, I think, to people who are in other countries. They're like, wait, they don't really understand what they believe it with all this zealousness, and yet they don't actually know what they believe. Yes.
That is correct.
Yes. That is exactly.
They are zealous about we aren't sure what, because they don't know.
Right. And that's one of the most frustrating things, because when you go to, like, have the conversation or have an argument or discuss something, you can't really actually have that discussion, because it just keeps going back to, no, but Jesus, or no, but it said this in the Bible, or the Bible said, and it's like, wait, can we get off the Bible? Because, like, let's just assume that it's not part of our laws, because it's fucking not.
Right.
You know? And then let's actually discuss this from a point of view where we have separation of church and state, which we supposedly do.
Right.
Right? But we can't get that far, because we can't get past Jesus, and they can't define what fucking Jesus is from one person to the next.
Yeah.
Because there is no consensus of what Jesus is, or what God is, or what religion is. There's no consensus, but they can all agree that God said and the Bible said, even though they can't agree on what that actually is.
Well, and they all know for a fact that the queers should be killed.
And we're generalizing very much here with regard to Christianity. There are Christians who are progressive, who are liberal, who understand more, who are willing to talk. But we're generalizing because it is so prevalent in this country, and there are so many things going wrong right now with the United States, and they are a direct result of what is happening with regard to religion in this country, and it's so fucked up. It is so fucked up.
And the people that are most supporting Trump and his administration are those very same zealous Christians that we've been railing about. That is why.
No, they have usurped that same zealous Christian. They aren't actually that. I don't believe for a second that they actually are that.
No, but the people at the bottom, the MAGAs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the
believe
followers
that they
on
are.
the street, our neighbors, kind of thing.
They believe that.
They believe it. They are the people that are most supportive of the Trump regime.
Right.
And the machine that he has put forth on trying to conquer all the fucking
they're the fucking
countries.
Charismatic pastor. That's what Trump is, and his whole group of cronies. They're the charismatic pastors running the church of the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's gross and it's scary. But that is why we're doing this podcast.
Right.
That is why we do this. And that is why when we are just supposed to be reading the Bible, quote unquote, that is why we talk about politics.
Yes.
Because
it's fucking relevant.
Because I'm studying the difference between how Christianity is in America versus England, and every single thing keeps coming back to the politics of it all.
Right.
And that's why.
Yeah.
Another difference between America and England with regard to Christianity is the belief intensity versus the culture of it all. So, like, in America, we've got super high belief certainty. Like, they don't understand the difference between belief and fact. For them, the belief is a fact.
Yeah.
And if you try to explain, but that's exactly not what faith is. Like, faith is believing it without a fact.
Right.
And, you know, that's okay. You can have that as long as you can admit it.
Right. But
It's
sadly,
kinda
you
like-
can usually not get past that in a conversation with them.
Right. They're like, no, it's fact. And it's like, no, that's literally,
That's
you're missing everything about your religion. Religion is belief and faith.
right. Right.
Yeah. So that's a thing that's very American. Biblical literalism is a common factor in American churches.
Yeah.
Not so much in England.
Right.
Like, the literalism is very big here. More so now even than maybe 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it is horrifying, especially since we've been reading it.
Well,
And we're like, what?
and I have people bring that up in arguments all the time too, right? And I have to ask them, I'm like, but what about all the contradictions? Like, we literally have a section at the end of every one of our fucking books that we've read from the Bible about contradictions, right? And they're like, there are no contradictions. I'm like, yeah, actually, I mean, there really are. There are contradictions.
And that's with me about halfway through the Old Testament deciding on my own to let's discount the contradictions that are just stupid math or stupid things that are petty.
Right.
Like,
right.
let's only concentrate on the actual contradictions that matter.
But like, then you have to get into this conversation with them about how literal is, and it's like, wait, how many fucking circles do we need to create? Let's get like 5 Venn diagrams and see if we can get any of this shit to match up that you're saying, because I really don't know what the hell's happening.
It appears to me that you keep moving the goalpost, and I would like it to remain still. Can we please agree on where the goalpost is, and for you to stop fucking moving it?
Right.
And the answer is no, friend. No. They will always move the fucking goalpost.
Right.
The are you saved versus not saved mindset is very American. I didn't realize that is not an England thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, there's not a are you saved question going on over there.
Well, I feel like that's more of an evangelical thing, which is more of a American thing.
Right.
So,
it's just that having this all spelled out for me, like, we're in it, so we don't know what it's like to not be in it.
Right.
And it's like you can know it intellectually, but then you start like asking questions and studying it, and you're like, oh, no, I was right. That really is just a weird Americanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that church is like a club, like there's a clear in group versus an out group and the boundaries thereof, that's very American. Like, doesn't matter as much in England.
Right.
There's a low belief certainty in England. They're less concerned about it. They're less worried about, is God real? Do you believe in God?
Right.
Like, just
no, and
go to work,
that's the way
pay taxes, whatever.
Right, yeah. And that's the way it generally comes across to me. So, they
seem very chill to me.
Right, they're like, whatever.
They also have fewer school shootings. That may factor in.
Well, they don't have guns over there either.
Right.
So that's helpful with that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, insofar as like why they might be more relaxed.
Weird how gun control actually, saves mass shootings.
Huh. Countries with more gun control has fewer school shootings.
Interesting.
I would not have put that together.
Yeah. Odd.
England is more comfortable with ambiguity, going,
right.
Like, it's fine.
You and I think, are fine with, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I wish more people were okay with saying, I don't know. I think I don't know should be a standard, answer to things that you don't fucking know.
I don't know is one of the most beautiful parts of science, because science and the scientific process is not about proving facts. It's about disproving hypotheses that don't work and trying again and again and again. so that all of our quote unquote theories that we have, they might as well be facts. They work mathematically and they have not yet been proven false.
Right.
That's what makes them theories, even though they might as well be facts.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we don't fucking know is the answer.
Right.
And I love that. It's one of the most beautiful parts of science is starting from let's find out.
Right. No,
And-
that's what I love about science, right? The curiosity that has driven us to find out all of these things that we found out. And like some of the things I learned early on in school, just there's so many things that are amazing, that are just simple principles of science, right? Like one of my favorite things to show off to people who just like, I'm like, this amazed me when I was a kid, and it's Bernoulli's principle, right? It's the idea of what gives lift to wings, right? And you take a piece of paper and you blow over top of it, and the paper rises, right? I found when I was a kid, I found that to be one of the most amazing things. Like literally, you can pick up a piece of paper and show how fucking amazing science is. That's how incredible it is. Like we've reasoned out why this works. And not only have we reasoned it out, we've reasoned it out to the point where we now travel regularly in the air like a fucking bird.
Without magic.
With steel and metal and fucking jet. You know, I mean, like, it's crazy what we've been able to accomplish from blowing over top of a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible to me, what humanity has been able to accomplish. But we're risking losing a lot of that through the stupidity that's entering back in where we're calling science dumb because it's not Christian, or that we're, you know, like there's just all this rhetoric that's going to be that is problematic with the progression of society, of humanity.
And let me just say, I understand that there are problems within the science community too.
Sure.
Two problems right off. One of them is there's a lot of racism and sexism.
Yeah.
I don't deny any of that. That's a tragedy. And that is not very scientific, if you will.
That happens in the Trump administration too.
Right.
Just saying.
No, I don't want it to sound like I'm glorifying science.
Right.
I am, but I'm also not blind to the problems. Okay, so the racism and sexism is one thing. The other thing is science without boundaries, like the whole Frankenstein of it all, right? Like just because you can doesn't mean you should,
right? Kind
of thing.
Right, sure.
The ethical questions involved and the harming other people in pursuit. There are a lot of questions.
Well, and
I don't want to religiousize
right, but
science.
that's part of the problem too, right? We're getting to a point in our society where we need to ask those serious questions, and we need our legislators to ask those serious questions too. But we're stuck in religious ideas instead,
right?
Where we're dealing with AI and technologies that could destroy humanity, like literally destroy us, right? We're instead arguing biblical bullshit in our Congress and in our Senate, and we're not talking to each other when we should be discussing the things that could be ending civilization because of the technology that we are able to create and that other countries are able to create. And we need to figure out how to deal with this as a people, as a whole fucking world.
Yeah.
And we don't have anybody that can hardly lead their way out of a fucking cardboard box.
Right. And I mean, yeah, AI is right up there. I would say climate catastrophe, climate breakage is right up there.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about those because we have to talk about, are women having their rights taken away? Can we still please be allowed to vote?
This is so frustrating.
Like, there are actually people trying to put forth legislation to undo the Equality Act that allowed for gay marriages to be recognized.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, God, I thought we were past all this.
Right.
You know?
It definitely is. It's very, it's defeating right?
It's so depressing and defeating because we had come so far, and it felt for just a minute like we had nowhere but up to go.
But I think this is why we need to come together as people who agree on things, and we need to do one more step, do one more thing. Just if each of us did just one more thing, like if we all did it, right?
Yeah.
That gives us hope. Like there is still hope. We can do this. We just got to get past this moment, and we got to make it better on the other side of it.
This moment is so scary, though.
It is.
Ugh. So with regard to England, like I said, they have the low belief certainty, and they have comfortableness with ambiguity. They have a lot of, I suppose there's something theology, just very chill, very laid back.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of conversations that I've had with people in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's God. I don't know. I suppose there's something.
Sure.
And like, I just love how laid back that is. Like, I ain't worried about it. Like, I'll find out when I get there. You know? Live the best life I can. Be the best I can be. And, you know, figure it out when the time comes.
Yeah.
Like, what more is there, right?
Right.
Belonging without believing is normal in England.
Right.
So there are many people in England that they go to church every Sunday. They attend church functions, but they're not like hardcore Christians or believers
it's like having a
in
Hulu
anything.
subscription. You pay for it, but you never watch anything on it.
See, you maybe. I watch stuff on Hulu, but yeah, that is what it would be like if you didn't watch stuff on Hulu.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so in England, you can be agnostic or you can be a believer, and no one panics either way.
Right.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
One thing I did, like the last one that I wanted to hit, is leaving faith. And I thought that is a very big point, because in America, it's a trauma. Like, it's a real trauma to leave your faith.
And I've heard the story so many times, especially doing this podcast and the people that we've talked to. It's heartbreaking. It is
heartbreaking because they lose more than just their faith when they leave their faith.
Yeah.
Deconstruction is very painful in America because of the loss of community, the loss of family.
Yeah.
You could lose your job. You could lose everything about your life.
Yeah.
You might have to move. You might get a divorce. You might lose your kids, you know?
No, we've literally talked to people that listen to our podcast that hide who they are from their spouse.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, not who they are, but what they believe, right?
Or what they don't believe.
They temper what they tell their partner because of them being scared to lose what they have, right? And it's such and look, I'm sure that happens in other countries, but it happens a lot more here, in my estimation, in my understanding.
I think it's so shocking and appalling because in America, we are so proud of our freedoms and our rights. Right? Like our individuality, our rugged individuality. We're so proud of those things.
Right.
And so it's so shocking when we find out, but that only applies to a small, loud group.
Now, I will say, because someone's going to point this out, that they're going to point out that, Muslim states and things like that, obviously those would cause the worst problems, right? But I'm speaking about Western European states and the United States as what we're discussing here with regard to how that kind of transpires. Generally speaking again, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I know someone will point out that it's going to be difficult for people that are in other countries like Muslim states and other countries that have different religions to pull away from religion. And I'm referring more to the the Eastern European and the United States and Western world, right? When I'm referring to the culture that's ingrained here, right? And how we're kind of comparing the two. But it is so what holds true there is with regard to what I'm saying there. Like not with the whole world, and I understand that there are differences, right? but it just seems in Western culture, it's much worse in the United States as far as all the Western culture is concerned.
Yes.
Sorry, that took a lot to get out.
That did.
And we also had to stop to do a cough mute. So like then I had to come back and figure it out, and then my brain stopped working. So that happened. That's a thing.
That is a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, leaving your faith, whatever it may be, is very difficult. But with regard to comparing how that would be in America versus in England, it's a lot harder in America because of all the things that you lose.
Yeah.
A former Christian, that's in quotes, is a title that becomes an identity in and of itself.
Yeah.
A deconstructed Christian, a former Christian, I used to be Christian.
Action.
Huh?
On the social media,
yeah.
it's action.
Action.
TIAN.
Yeah. I didn't understand what that was at first, because it's just commonly used.
Right.
And nobody explained it to me.
Sure.
The fear-based theology leaves a deep scar in American deconstructed Christians.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
No, and it
America.
does. It's not easy to rebuild those communities. And obviously, if you lost family, that is, tragic and terrible. Not always. Look, I mean, I say tragic, but like I think a lot of people end up with better, safer, healthier communities that they find on the other side of it. Not always. I'm not saying that that's 100% the case, but like that's part of the reason they're leaving is because they want something. They weren't getting what they needed from that group. It wasn't what they needed.
Right.
So and that's why people leave that and go somewhere else. Obviously. Sorry.
In England, people might drift away from their church, but they do so more quietly and it's less painful.
Yeah.
The exits are not as dramatic. Like there's not like that final Facebook, I'm leaving Facebook post.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Their religion kind of fades rather than explodes or implodes like it does in America. There's less need for ex-Christian support spaces, which I hadn't even considered.
Yeah, and for anybody that would be looking for that, like definitely I recommend checking out Recovering from Religion, it's RFR for short. They have great resources for that and meetings where they get together and discuss things. So there are definitely, and that's not the only one, but that's the biggest one I can think of off the top of my head. So
yeah, and it like, as somebody who wasn't ever raised in a religion, it didn't even occur to me that there would be a need for support spaces for people who have left a church.
Right.
And that apparently is a very American thing.
Right. And of course, if you're okay with cussing and you like cool people, you can come to our Discord too.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So I guess one of the questions that we could ask is like, why does it hurt to leave an American Christian church more than it would in England? But I think that we've kind of answered that because your entire identity is wrapped up in it in America, whereas it's not in England. It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that also lends to, again, something that we've repeated, why we're doing this podcast, why we're reading the Bible, why we bring politics into it, because it is a very American thing that I think unless you're living here and inundated with it, you can't possibly know. And you should feel glad of that.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. Was that all you basically had today, or?
That's all I basically had today.
Okay. All right. Not sure how much of that was about the differences, but we definitely bitched a lot about U.S. religion and politics, and we talked some about the differences. So hopefully you got something out of that.
I did. I learned a lot of what is an Americanism And I also learned about Christianity in England, that what I didn't know. I didn't know that they were much less Jesus-centric. They're much more chillaxed about their faith. And they're also much more, they keep it close to the chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just didn't have
I had a sense of that, but like it wasn't,
I suspected it might be true, but I didn't know it because I'm buried in the Americanisms. So I just didn't have an idea that was solid of what it was like elsewhere. Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. This was a live podcast. So if you want to join us the next time, that's always Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Discord. Link is in the show notes. And as always, we will see you next time.
We will. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.